Hello and welcome. My name is Andrew, and this is the Who Dat Discussion, a New Orleans Saints podcast where we talk about all Saints news, opinions, and reactions. And this is going to be our last free agent frenzy episode. We were doing like a daily podcast for this week. I couldn't put one out Friday, but I put one out Saturday instead, and we're going to recap all the news from Friday and Saturday, as both really just had one big piece of news really in both days. And then I think we're just going to get right into it. The two big pieces were that the Saints signed defensive tackle / defensive end Mario Edwards. He's kind of the 3-tech, but he also could shift out to the outside if need be. And then also, in a really of a stunner, Max Unger, the center, star center for the Saints, Pro Bowl center, has retired. And it's going to leave a void right in the middle of the Saints offensive line. And we're going to obviously talk about how the Saints could fill that void, either in-house or through free agency or through the draft. And I think we're just going to see what the Saints could do there. They could do so many options. I don't really like the free agent markets. I'd go in the draft, but I'm going to get into that much later here in this episode. So first, we are going to start with the Mario Edwards Jr. signing. Really, I think it was a very good signing. It's only 2 years, $5 million. So the Saints got only $2.5 million a year. Probably the cap hit for this year will be less, just because the Saints are definitely in a little of a cap predicament here. Not as much now, because they're going to have another $7 million with Unger retiring. That's going to put the Saints over $21 million. But that's also before the signings of Malcolm Brown were announced. And I believe Craig Robinson was announced on there either, but everyone else was counted on there. So we're probably going to have around that 15-16 million still to spend after Unger. So that's obviously going to be, I think, very, very good. You're going to have your money, and you're going to be able to get guys. They'll be able to get a Jared Cook if need be, another free agent center if need be. But I just don't know if they'll be able to get a center. But again, we're going to get into that later. So, but even with Mario Edwards here, he has 5.5 sacks in 2 years. He's going to take over that 3-tech role, the defensive tackle. If David Onyemata, he's going to get, he's probably going to get suspended, and then also Sheldon Rankins. If both of those are out for significant periods of time, the Saints will definitely put Edwards in there. He's had started in years past. He's more of a rotational piece, and I think that's what the Saints are going to use him for. If someone got hurt, he could definitely stick right in there, even if they don't. No one gets hurt. He's a perfect player. He can bring back. You could have 4 really solid defensive tackles on this team, and what the Saints have done, they brought in 2 defensive tackles here, and I think that's perfect what they needed to do. I really like Malcolm Brown, and I think Mario Edwards, for what he's going to do, I think he can be really good. The versatility is there. The Saints did visit with him, so I knew that, there was a reason there was going to be a lot of interest. And why? It's because the Saints just love those players that are versatile, and they could swing out, especially in their predicament here, where you have, in the beginning of the season, you're not going to have that many defensive tackles available, but once everyone comes back, you're going to need guys to swing over to the outside, and Mario Edwards is a perfect example of that. He's a little undersized, I believe, and he's oversized to be a defensive line, but he's undersized to be in the defensive end, I meant. He's, I believe, 280 pounds, which is a little low for a defensive tackle, but he's kind of like that David Onyemata raw. He was a second-round pick, so there's definitely, talent there, and he, in the last 2 years, he has had around 5.5 sacks. That's not bad for defensive tackle. I know David Onyemata, he had a 3-sack game, so obviously it's going to help him out. But in that team, he's going to be around that David Onyemata type player. I think when he plays with a better defensive line, he played with the Giants defensive line last year, and they didn't really have anyone. They don't have any great player there, so it's not like he was, had they did have Olivier Vernon, but besides Olivier Vernon, he didn't even have a good year. They really have no one on that defensive line, so he never played with the Cam Jordan type player. I think going opposite him or inside, he never paired with a Sheldon Rankins type player. I think he could put up even more sacks. Maybe he could have a 4 or 5 sack season if he played enough snaps here. He did play 15 games with the Giants, but didn't start any. So, but the year before, he started every game for the Raiders. So, he was drafted by the Raiders, and then he was, now he's picked by the Giants last year, picked up by the Giants last year, and then, ever since then, he was with the Giants. He did a pretty good job. He had a forced fumble with the Giants as well. He's that 3-tech. He's going to do what, he has to do down there. He's going to get to the quarterback, penetrate if need be, and I think he's just a good rotational piece for the Saints to have. I think for what the Saints need, it's just perfect. It puts the Saints to have really now 5 solid defensive linemen, if starting defensive linemen, if everybody's healthy. I wouldn't be surprised if they added Ziggy Ansah as well, because the Saints still need to fill that Alex Okafor role. I don't think Edwards fills that role. I think he kind of fills that David Onyemata role when Onyemata's suspended. So I do think it was a good move, and you can never have enough defensive linemen. And it kind of moves, especially if the Saints do get Ansah. You don't really have to go with that in the draft. You have enough defensive linemen. Also, you're going to still keep Trey Hendrickson and stuff like that, so you do not need any defensive lineman in the draft, which was nice, especially when you have that void on the offensive line, and we're going to get into that. So really, with Unger, I mean, look, I really just want to talk a lot about it because it does save the Saints $7 million, which is good, but you rather have Unger there. You rather have, Unger's, his locker room presence, his playing presence, obviously, and also he's always healthy. He, I believe, played 67 out of 68 games. I mean, that's just what you want out of him. But the one thing is, he did tell the Saints a lot. He did tell the Saints early, so they have a lot of time to get the position ready to go and to be ready to pick up players here. I just really don't like the market here in this market for the centers. There are not very many good ones. There were two from the Vikings, and they're both not very good. We already met with Nick Easton, and I just really look Nick Easton. He's a fine depth piece, and if you're going to get him, to be your backup, I'd be fine. But he didn't play all of last year, which is obviously a problem. And then the year before, he was just not good at playing as a guard. His primary position is center, and they moved him to guard. But he had like a 41 PPF rating. That's not good. It's below average. It's actually one of the worst, out of any guards of that year. He was one of their better players in the defensive line because that offensive line was not good, which is to me very interesting. And then their other center, Brett Jones, he's not good either. And last year only had a 50 rating, but that was kind of an upgrade over last year. The Vikings just do not have a good they don't have a good offensive line. They really never had over the last couple of years, and it really showed. So look, Nick Easton I think would be a good depth piece, but long term, starting every single time, he's just not that player that the Saints need. When you're looking at a Brett Jones player, 53, he's more of that player that could just play just center. It's not like a bad thing, but again, I just don't think that the Saints should go up and sign him. There's a Steven Wisniewski in there. Maybe the Saints get him. Ryan Khalil's retiring, I believe. So really, when you look at it, not that many players out there. Maybe you got a John Sullivan who played for the Rams last year. It's not bad, but your three best, centers here. Whereas Mitch Morris and Matt Paredes, Spencer Long, he's all right, but even those guys, they got $11 million for Mitch Morris, and for Matt Paredes got $10 million, about $9.6 million. So it's if you're gonna get a good center, they're gonna pay. And you're gonna need that $8 to $11 million range. It seems like what they're going for, and I don't think the Saints will be able to do that just because you got the cap, obviously, which is going to be an issue for them, especially if they're going to want to get a Jared Cook player. But to me, it's just you're going to have to look in the draft. I think that's what you look at. The center class is extremely deep, and even though I wasn't looking at these centers at the combine, because who would have thought that these guys would have retired? But there are a lot of good, solid safeties out there. You can get a guy like Garrett Bradbury, who's more of an athletic player. He was coming from NC State. He's coming from that pro-style offense with Ryan Finley. So you can go in there and, he knows what he's doing. He can maybe be a first-time starter. He had a good combine performance. That's just what you want to see. Obviously, the athletic build, he can play in the NFL, and he could probably be a, day one starter. I think that could be really good. There's also a player like Elgton Jenkins, and he's kind of that second-round player, and he's going to be a plug-and-play starter in the NFL. People say that's just what he's going to be. I think the Saints should look at him as well. I think these two guys, when you're looking at Jenkins here, really just he's a prototype starter, really. He's 314 pounds. His hand size is 10, arm size 34.5. That's what you want to see here. It's a really big size here, and he's a really good blocker, plug-and-play type player. He's going to be that second-round grade, and it's just, look, I think that could be a player for the Saints to get in the draft. So right now I'm looking at Jenkins and Bradbury as players that the Saints could definitely put up there. So really just with Unger, it's just like, look, guys, everyone's saying, like, why would Unger do this to our team and stuff like that. I don't blame this on Unger. It's not really, look, he wanted to retire, let him retire. It's, his career, and he had a really good career with the Saints. All I got to say is congratulations on the retirement and good luck. Thank you for protecting Breeze all those years. That's what I said in the tweet. So that's just what I think from this situation. I think the Saints could get a fine safety. Also, this was Unger's worst year of his career, so I could see why he's retiring. You know, he wants to kind of retire on top. He was a Pro Bowler. So I think that is good for him there. I mean, just that's just what I think. I think you can get a player in the draft. And then also you have Cameron Tom. And look, I wouldn't go with Cameron Tom yet. I don't think he's quite there. And people are looking at his PPF grades. Guys, don't look at that because it's not enough snaps. He only played like 170 snaps. That's just not enough to really get a good, gauge on him. I think he could be a player, but right now, going into this, championship or bust kind of year for the Saints, do you want Cameron Tom starting there? It wouldn't be the worst scenario, but I would definitely draft someone and leave Cameron Tom as some depth there. I think if the Saints really want to do, maybe you sign that Nick Easton type player and then also bring in that plug and play starter from college. I think that's what you want to do, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints do that. I don't think the Saints will be able to get a starter in free agency, like a very, very good starter. You're not going to get Max Unger level. I think that's what I'm trying to say here. You're not getting Max Unger level. Maybe if you get the draft player, he won't be Max Unger level 2, but if he can be above average to average, you can definitely be fine with that, especially if Andrews Pete stays healthy, and then also Teron Armstead stays healthy. You'll be just fine there. But if they're not healthy, you have a rookie there, or you have a veteran that's not so good. It's definitely a tough loss because he was that rock in the middle, and especially as being a center, maybe you don't want a rookie back there. It's gonna be really tough. But I do think that the Saints will be able to fill the hole. I don't think it's the end of the world, but and I heard people talking about this, that the Saints have lost 3 key players to their team. And look, you could say that they lost Ingram, they lost Unger now, and they lost Watson. They have a replacement for Ingram, with Latavius Murray. I'm not really calling that really a loss. I think the Saints will be fine. I don't think you're going to see a drop off in the position because I think Kamara's going to get a little better in that third year jump, and then also you're going to have Latavius Murray come here, and I think he could be very similar to Ingram. And then I think that the Saints are going to sign Jared Cook eventually, and he's going to be even a better replacement to Benjamin Watson. And then now you have this Unger situation, which I don't know if the Saints can even really. They can't just replace him right now and be better. I think Unger is one of the best centers in the league, and no one out of the draft is going to be better. Cameron Tom's not going to be better there. And look, maybe you can get someone out of free agency and they can be a stud right out of the gates, but I just don't think so. So that's just what I think on that situation. It's kind of unfortunate because he was doing really good Unger with the Saints, and maybe he could have just pulled out one more year with Drew Brees, and maybe they could both retire into the sunset. But maybe it's better that he gets this out of his system. Maybe he knew he didn't want to go through another whole year of training and all the hits and everything. It's definitely a lot for a player, but it would have been nice if he could just stuck it out one more year. It gives the Saints a hole, and I don't know if the Saints want to go through that. It's going to be very, very tough to find this replacement. I don't think he's going to be good as Unger. I think we got to kind of put that into our head. I'm hoping that if we can get a Jared Cook, who's to me much, much better than Benjamin Watson, that would really cancel out a center not being as good as Unger. And that's just what I feel there. So with all that said, I think it's time to wrap up this podcast. If you like this whole free agent frenzy week and all these episodes, and definitely want to just know more information on these free agents, definitely follow us on Twitter at the Who Dat Dis, on Instagram at Who Dat Discussion, on Podomatic at the Who Dat Discussion. And then also you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, iTunes channel, Google Play channel, and Spotify channel at the Who Dat Discussion. On YouTube, please hit that thumbs up button, hit that notification bell, comment down below. All that stuff is just really, really helpful. Hope you guys have all been enjoying all my comments, with interacting with you guys. I really enjoy it, so I hope you guys also enjoy it. And then also on iTunes, give us that 5 out of 5 rating, review us. All that stuff's really helpful. If you guys can give us those 5 stars, we can give you guys more content. And then also, if you haven't watched any of our other free agent frenzy videos, go watch those. Because look, we're gonna have more free agent frenzy videos coming out and film studies with all these new players. I'll be coming out with a Malcolm Brown film study, Latavius Murray, and Mario Edwards. So far, I'm gonna get on those guys, and also I'm gonna get a Teddy Bridgewater film study out. Those are my next 4. I'm gonna try to get them out in the next 2 weeks, and then if the Saints sign anyone else, they will be added to the list. Everyone will get a film study, so I just can't wait to make those and publish them out and put them on YouTube. They'll be on YouTube, and we're at Good Discussion on there, as I said before. Also, just some visits. The Saints did end their visit with Jared Cook and Ziggy Ansah without a deal. The Ziggy Ansah visit was more of a visit that the Saints really went in there and they just wanted to get him a physical. They really wanted to see where he was physically. They are very interested in him, so I wouldn't be surprised. He's going to take some other visits, but I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back to the Saints and gets a deal done with them, especially if it's going to be a 1 to 2 year deal. I think the Saints offered him a 1 to 2 year deal, and I think he just wants to see other options. That's what some sources are saying. And then also with Jared Cook, it lasted about 48 hours, his meeting, and people are saying that Loomis was holding him hostage in the Saints facility in Metairie, and he finally left. It wasn't confirmed, but by a picture he posted on Instagram, it was him and his son. We don't know where it was. Maybe it was in New Orleans, but a lot of people were saying it was in his home. I believe he lived in California, so maybe he's back there. Supposedly, he is also interested in the Patriots, but we'll see where that comes out. He has no other visits scheduled at this point. Supposedly, the Saints offered him like 2 years with a 3-year option. I saw someone said that. I don't know if it's true, but just to give you some ideas, maybe what the Saints are doing there. I think the Saints should sign him. I think they should give him that 3 years, $24 million. I've been saying that for a while. I think that's what they should give him, and I think he's kind of integral to this offseason. And I think that would just be huge. I think that would be really big. People really haven't been talking about it as much tonight because all this Unger news, but I still think that if the Saints can get Cook, I think that would be huge. And then also, we're also entering kind of this like second wave of free agency where the news is not going to come quick. That's why we're ending our free agent frenzy, all these videos and all this week, this whole week long talk. So I think we're really going to go back to our 2 episodes a week. We're going to get those film studies out. I think I'm going to take a break until like Thursday or Friday to get the next podcast episode out, unless like they got Jared Cook or they got Ziggy Ansah. I'll put an episode out, quick one, but it'll definitely be out there. But just to get all these film studies out and then just catch up on some other things because I've just been getting all these episodes out the night of. It's been a lot of work, but guys, I just love doing it. This is the best week of the year so far, since the season's ended. It's crazy. It's really good. Obviously now when you're covering it, it's even more fun because it's some great stuff. And all these moves the Saints have made, I like all of them. I really liked, just to recap this whole week, I really liked the Malcolm Brown. I think the most. I think he is going to be a player that the Saints have really a high, not a high risk. He's a low risk, high reward type player. Excuse me there. I think first round player. He definitely has a ton of talent, and you put that with Ryan Nielsen and all the talent the Saints have on the defensive line coming in, it's going to be time for him, I think, to have a big year. I think he's going to be one of the better that one-tech defensive tackle. I think he's going to be a huge upgrade over Tyler Davidson, and I think we're going to see that. And even though the Saints were very good against the run game last year, I think you may even see them be a little better with Malcolm Brown there. I think he just does all the things that Tyler Davidson does, just a lot better. So I think you're going to see that he's got the experience. Has 2 Super Bowl rings with the Patriots. I think he's just going to be a really good addition for the Saints. I also do like Latavius Murray. He's a big guy. I didn't really notice how big it was. He's big. He's strong. Much bigger than Mark Ingram. And he's going to get a lot of touchdowns with the Saints, and it's going to help that red zone percentage go up, as the Saints were a little lower on that this year. So I think with that player with Murray, I think you're going to see definitely an upgrade there. I like Mario Edwards too. That's more of a low-key signing, but we'll see what happens. And then that's really it. We also re-signed, obviously, Teddy. I love that move. Great, best quarterback in the game. I think that's your future quarterback. Obviously, another really big move. But the Saints did have 3 players really leave, and that's obviously going to be the story of the offseason to this point. The Saints, they were able to keep 21 out of their 18 out of their 21 starters in this free agent period, which is not bad. A lot of teams lost a lot more, and I think the Saints did get. I'm not even going to count Tyler Davidson because I think they got a better starter with Malcolm Brown out there, so I'm not going to play him. And I think it could be 19 really if you get Jared Cook, and you're really only losing 2 players. I think Murray, I don't think it's going to be a big issue. I think Mark Ingram is like this star running back here. Alvin Kamara is the star running back. I think what everyone's kind of missing there. I love Mark Ingram, and he's a great player. He should get paid, but he's not like the best running back in the league. He's not top 5 running back. Alvin Kamara has a chance to be that. Remember that. If he gets all his carries, he's going to be dominant, and you're not going to see a difference. And then you have Murray in the red zone, that goal line type back, and then also that short downs. It's going to be a perfect scenario for the Saints there. I think in the running backs, I think they're going to form a bond. Maybe not like Ingram, but it's going to be a good running back tandem there, and I think it's going to be enough to get the Saints a lot of production, and it's going to be good. So, with all that said, I want to say thank you, prove them right, and who dat?
KK, you are safe, yeah.